when a majority of total votes cast is for rejection, the NALC negotiators shall inform the USPS and reopen negotiations within 5 days. All right, guys, within 5 days of them tallying our votes, Brian Renfro has to tell USPS the workers are not going to accept this agreement. If the negotiations are not reopened, the NALC negotiators shall determine if there will be binding arbitration, an immediate work stoppage, or a designated job action. Welcome to Unconscious Thoughts, a domain where I shine light on my personal experiences and stories that have helped to shape my current character and personality and all the changes along the way. What's going on, guys? All right, I receive a lot of flack, right? Because I am trying to keep our union together. Okay, all of the naysayers, oh, I'm gonna take my dues out. I'm gonna make sure Renfro doesn't get another dollar. They get paid based off of what we pay them, and if we don't pay dues, they can't get paid. Unfortunately, guys, winners never quit and quitters never win. Remember that. Quote me. Okay, guys. If every time something doesn't go our favor, what are we, a little 2-year-old brat, and we're gonna have a tantrum and whine our way out of it? No, that's just not how this is gonna happen. Okay, and if you have that thought in your mind, okay, I understand you were angry, you were frustrated. All right, but now it's time to be adults. Pick your pants up and let's do what we gotta do. Okay, now I understand a lot of people say, oh well, UPS, Teamsters, the actor guilds, the guys at the dock workers, everyone's got these amazing contracts, and then we get 3.9%, right? And then they say, oh well, they could strike, we can't strike. Okay, right? But more importantly than them being able to strike, what did they have? Okay, and that answer to the question is solidarity. Okay, so where are we in 2024? Okay, think about it. We're in a position where letter carriers are more divided than ever. Okay, and the biggest issue of why the division occurred was unfortunately not due to anything that either one of us did. And when I say either one of us, I'm referring to Table 1 carriers versus Table 2 carriers. Okay, we didn't do anything to cause a division. Okay, what had happened was a contract went to arbitration, and the amount of starting pay was reduced substantially, which meant that anyone that came onto the service after 2013 was going to get a huge reduction in pay. Okay, now the argument from Table 1 carriers, oh well, you guys knew what you were getting when you signed up, so why are you complaining? Okay, that's a fair argument. And the argument from Table 2 carriers are, well, this job paid this much back in the day, why are we getting screwed now? Okay, that division had nothing to do with membership creating it. Okay, that was between union and NALC and management, and then arbitration actually met them somewhere in the line, and they created the CCA, and they reduced the pay, I think, to $15 an hour. When I came on, I think I started at $18.93. I got a raise real quick because I started in October. I got my general wage increase in November, and today I'm at $23.12. Okay, so just in under 3 years with everything that happened, I got a 26% wage increase, just de facto step increases. Okay, now today we are more divided than ever. Okay, so what do we have to do to be as strong as UPS? Do we have to be as strong as dock workers? Okay, number one, I don't think we'll be that strong with the current leadership we have at National. Okay, and that's fair. Okay, there's nothing that can be done overnight to fix that. Okay, right now there are Article 10 charges against him thanks to Mike Cariff, and if these charges don't stick, we have to come back with more charges. And if those charges don't stick, if we really want this guy out and he doesn't want to resign willingly, then we can continue to push pressure. All right, is it worth it? Well, we got to think we're in October, so just about 2 years. Okay, 24 months from today, we'll be voting on a national election. Okay, do we want results quicker than that? If I say anything about that, I think we do. However, that takes us joining in solidarity. Okay, so what else is the problem with this union? Okay, I think I just said it. It's solidarity. Okay, since we have that division amongst Table 1 carriers and Table 2 carriers, the union itself is in a weakened state. Now, when anything is in a weakened state, it's a perfect opportunity for the enemy to strike. Am I right, or am I right? Okay, so now if I'm a supervisor or a manager and I know that my carriers are having an internal division, what I'm gonna do is enforce contract language even harder. I'm gonna challenge these union reps, and I'm going to push my agenda onto something that's already broken. And as long as the opposition doesn't fight back, I'm going to keep on doing it. So I think that's where we are right now. I think we are in a position where management has the leverage. Okay. And just like when you play football, whoever has the momentum, if they can hold on to the momentum, they can continue to push forward and win that game. So right now we're having a timeout session. Now, all of the anger that is in the air because of the release of the tentative agreement, it is perfectly fine and normal to have emotions. Okay, now we have to have some emotional intelligence, and we have to redirect this energy. Okay, I get it. We're upset with President Renfro. However, like I said, the process to get him out is a process. And what I see is that a lot of carriers want things to happen overnight, and they don't want to do or be a part of it. They just expect that their local union officials are going to do all the work, and magically, with the wave of a wand, well, everything's fixed. Okay, that's not what's going to happen. That's not how it happens. Okay, let's take a second to breathe. Okay, now I stand by my comments 110%. Now is not the time to leave the union. Now is the time to change the union from the way that it's been operating. And how do we do that? Okay, well, let's go over some of the excuses of why we are where we are. People say, oh, I can't be of service in the union because I can't make it to meetings. I can't make it to meetings because I'm working overtime. I can't make it to meetings because I have family obligations. I can't make it to meetings because they're 20-30 minutes away and I get off of work at this time and I'm not gonna make it. I can't get to meetings. I can't get to meetings. I can't get to meetings. Okay, that's what you hear. Okay, now the power of not being a part of is the number one reason why there is division. Okay, because now when you don't go to meetings, you hold those accountable for what has been drafted or acted upon. Okay, if you don't go to a meeting and some type of motion passes and you hear the rumors about it tomorrow, you're upset. You're more upset than someone that's car just got broken into. But the thing is, you had the chance to be there and you chose not to. Okay, so how do you create a strong union? You start by going to meetings. And I don't know how much simpler a person can put it. Like, you are not gonna get a free lunch. All right, and I'm just being like as I don't even know the word, because the anger may be warranted, but the lack of action is incomprehensible. I don't understand why anyone feels like they have the right to complain when they're doing absolutely nothing. Now, those people that I'm not speaking to, you know, I'm not speaking to you. Ignore the message. However, spread the message. All right, meeting makers make it. Literally, meeting makers make it. We make it. We make ratifications. We make resolutions. We make voting decisions. We make it. Those who don't vote are just paying due members. And you get representation, you do. But why would you just want to send money every month and expect something in return without being a part of? That's basically like paying taxes. Okay, you pay taxes in America and you complain about this, about that, but then when it's time to go vote for local elections, you don't vote. You don't vote for the mayor, you don't vote for the city council. You might go out to national elections, you might go to vote for presidents, you know. And if you know anything, presidents really don't affect things that are happening in your town. They're like affecting national, federal stuff. So if you're paying weekly and bi-weekly to be a part of the union, you are a part of the union. And then you're going to say, oh, well, I don't even have to pay and get representation. You don't. But just how we vote with the products that we buy in America, we have to vote with the membership dues that we pay, and by being a paying dues member, it gets you entry into the union hall. With the entry into the union hall, you now have the power to vote. If you don't pay dues, you can't vote, and it's as simple as that. So you're paying to represent your voice and your opinion by attending meetings and being a part of. And then the magic happens. Once you start getting in there, you start to become more knowledgeable, okay? And a knowledgeable union member is a threat, not only to the opposition, but even to the union itself. Because once you figure out how things start to work, you know, now you can start to influence others. All right, guys. So I don't think I have to say it, but I hope you guys know that I will be voting no 100%. Now, what can we do in the meantime? All right, so I'm going to take a second here. I made a video about this way back when, because I knew this day was going to happen. And I said, what can you do after the contract comes out? Or basically, so what I'm going to do here is take a couple minutes. And if you don't want to stay with me, that's fine. If you do, you know, thank you. All right, so what I'm going to do here is open up Article 16 of our national constitution. Okay, and this is our word. This is what tells us how we handle our ratification. Now, rather than me read the entire thing, which I really should, let's just go right here. Okay, membership, acceptance, or rejection of a proposed national agreement shall be by majority of valid ballots returned by voters. When such majority votes to accept the proposed agreement, no other action should be required of the union membership. Suitable and timely notice of such results shall be made and certified to the membership by the ballot committee through the postal record and the NALC bulletin. When a majority of valid ballots returned by the voter rejects the proposed agreement, the ballot committee shall cause a suitable and timely notice of the results and certify the membership to the postal record or the NALC bulletin. And they must furnish and certify the same information to the national president. Okay, so if we agree on it, nothing needs to happen. They just have to inform the entire membership through our little magazine that we get every month. And then if we reject it, they have to send a notice to everyone in the magazine every month, and then they have to send it to Brian Renfro. All right, now here is where we are right now. When a majority of total votes cast is for rejection, the NALC negotiator shall inform the USPS and reopen negotiations within 5 days. All right, guys, within 5 days of them tallying our votes, Brian Renfro has to tell USPS the workers are not going to accept this agreement. If the negotiations are not reopened, the NALC negotiators shall determine if there will be binding arbitration, an immediate work stoppage, or a designated job action. Now, they're not going to not open negotiations. And Brian Renfro, little weak ass BITCH, is not gonna allow us to stop working. So he is gonna force us into arbitration. But just know right there, it says the NALC negotiators shall determine if there will be binding arbitration, an immediate work stoppage, or a designated job action. If negotiations are reopened, they will not exceed a period of 15 days. So there's no more 520 days. After we tell them we don't want it, within 5 days, Brian Renfro has to determine what he's going to do. Is he going to tell us we're not working? Is he going to send it to arbitration? All right. And then 15 days after the Postal Service receives that notification from Renfro, we should have a new contract within 15 days. And I'm pretty sure it's already written. I'm 100% sure it's already written. at which time a second ballot shall be mailed to each member for ratification or rejection. All right, guys. So within 15 days, we'll have a new contract. If membership rejects the second ballot, then the national president will determine if there will be a binding arbitration or an immediate work stoppage. Again, it's up to Renfro. Renfro gives them the option to go back to negotiations, and this is where if Renfro negotiated in good faith, this is the opportunity that he has to say, you guys didn't give me this, you didn't give me that, and you didn't give me this in the first round. I told you my membership is not going to accept it. Here's a second chance. This is what I need. All right, this is what my members want. And I'm telling you, if we can't get it done, we're either going to stop working or we're going to send this bad boy to arbitration. All right. And I'm telling you, we might just stop working this time, because it's unfair that the letter carrier has been working for 5 years through some of the toughest times in American history, and the public had no understanding of the schemes and frustrations that were happening behind the scenes with the way that you treated the letter carrier, the way that you treated them as they were animals, pushing them out, harassing them. And now I have a great opportunity here to get on the news channels and let them know exactly what's been happening with their beloved letter carrier. Okay? XYZ. Now, he's not a fighter. We know that. So he's going to negotiate. All right? They got the arbitrators. They've had the arbitrators. And he has been not wanting to go to arbitration. So let's stop right here. Let's say that in the next 20 days, it was possible to remove Renfro from office. And let's say that the vice president was the acting president. We would still be in the same position just because the vice president and Renfro are buddy-buddy. But if there was some way to get the vice president and the president out of office because of collusion, and then we get an executive vice president like James Henry, who is actually running for president in 2026, someone that's willing to fight, maybe that work stoppage will happen. Because, you know, that's probably what needs to happen. It's not a strike. It's a work stoppage, and it's written in our Constitution. Okay, so we are not violating any laws just because of the position that we are in with a contract, and a contract not being ratified because it's not acceptable to the membership. In the case of a nationally sanctioned work stoppage, the president shall issue no recall to work until a full and unconditional amnesty is granted to all participants in the work stoppage. So right there it says it. If Renfro says don't go to work until we get a contract, now before we go back to work, before this contract ratified, we need it in writing that no one's going to be fired for not going to work because the post office caused this. All right, it's written in our Constitution, and any national collective bargaining agreement entered in between the two parties shall be ratified by the regulars, who shall be non-supervisors in the Postal Service. So that's where we are today. So that's why I say, like, when people get angry right now, people are angry, and that's fine. Okay, use your anger wisely. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to quit the union. Number one, it's going to take more than 2 years. It's going to take more time to get out of the union for 220,000 people than it is to vote our next president in, or to vote Article 10 charges against Brian Renfro. Rather than use the anger and weaken the few that are trying to change within the union, sign a petition, join a movement within, start your own movement. Okay, if you are a fighter, gather 30 people inside of your branch that think the way that you think, because now you are a simple majority and nothing will pass. I promise you, if you have 30 people on your side, nothing will pass at your members' local union meeting except for what you guys want, because you are the membership. And that's how powerful it is. Okay, so if you are sitting there and you just so happen to have someone that's crafty with words and language, and they offer a resolution to amend the national constitution to add a provision to remove a national president, because of these clauses A, B, C, and your branch sends that over to the National Convention in 2026, and it is ratified from the delegates, who again are the guys that are going to your meetings. Now, this sticky situation that we're in right now will never happen again. Okay, guys, it's right there. Article 16 of our national constitution, found on NALC.org. The article is titled Collective Bargaining. I don't know how much more simple it's stated. Okay, it's written right there. It's for us to know that there is a process, that this may be an extraordinary time in national NALC history. And you know what? It's a time for us to stand together as one and be unified and know that only three things are going to happen here. Number one, the division within our union is so strong that the Table 1 carriers outvote everyone else and they pass the contract. Number two, what's going to happen is there's enough support from Table 1 and Table 2 carriers unilaterally. Luna, how you say that word? Ooh, I don't know how to say it. Luna unilaterally, something like that. Like everyone, there's going to be a great support within the membership that everyone votes no. Okay? Everyone votes no. And then that's what should happen, because voting no opens up three more options. If you vote yes, it's dead. That's it. It's dead. You vote no, now we got three more options, and that's arbitration, a designated work action, or a work stoppage. All right, guys. That's what I got for you, right? Because the energy right now is in a place where if you say the wrong thing, you could be fired. And you have to know that. Like, there's certain, you can't say strike. You can't even mention that on the work floor, because if you influence another member and you encourage them to stop work, you're gonna get fired. It's that simple. Like, they don't play around with that. All right, the national president has the power, and only he has the power, and it's never been invoked. Even during the Wildcat strikes, the national president, Ratification, did not agree with the union publicly. Now, behind the scenes, he may have been, go ahead, boys, go ahead, do what you're doing. But he had to tell the membership to go back to work because Congress made him. And then he went to the Senate hearing and he said, I have no control of my membership. They're going to do what they want to do. Right. And then they're like, well, we're not going to negotiate a contract until you get those guys back to work. And then finally, when they did negotiate, he said, go back to work right now. Go back to work tomorrow. Everyone back to work. But now we're in the opposite position where Renfro has the power to tell us not to go to work. And then before we go back to work, he has to guarantee that we're not going to get fired, because it's not like we were just upset and said we're not going to work. Like, they presented us a very unfair contract. Okay. And the process states that after Renfro tells them that we want to go back to negotiations in 15 days, they got to give us another contract. But if they don't give us a contract in 15 days, okay, we don't have to wait another 500 days. No, time is moving now. Now there are deadlines, just like if you get a letter of warning, there's timelines. Okay, and this is where we are. We're actually in a real fast-paced position right now. So guys, however you vote will determine what happens next. All right, guys, until next time, I'll be here. You'll be there. Peace. And for those who stuck around for the whole thing, thank you. I definitely wanted to share where I was at, because I'm not just going to tell you guys what to do. You guys are paying union members, and when you pay, you have access to the union, which grants you voting rights. And what I try to do here is today, I try to tell you what happens when you're going to vote each way. Okay. And now if you vote no the way that I'm going to vote, then there are the options that I explained. If you vote yes, everything dies here, and you'll get your 1.3 raise in about 180 days. All right, guys. So let's make a an educated assumption and say that the NALC is about to become one of the most powerful unions in America. Peace.